me see. Oh, yay. I think we went live. Yep. Okay, good. Good. Yay. Okay, sorry guys. Had to go let in the AC people from my parents' house. Unlock the front door for them. So I am back. I will be streaming and working on Shrooms again today with my cat Lulu. Maybe. I don't know how much she wants to help me. And I apologize. I am pretty lazy today, so I'm not gonna be putting on the fancy makeups or anything. Except I need a fucking god. Ugh. But I'm trying out my new it's the Insta360 webcam. And it plugs into computers. So it's not like a very mobile camera, but initially I got it to work on art stuff. Because you can angle it down and it kind of it'll automatically adjust for you and stuff. Hi goddess, sorry. I'm sorry for any confusion. I had to go. My dad just texted me. He was like, hey, the AC people are going to be there. And I was like, well, what? So it's literally like a minute drive there and a minute drive back. But still, I grabbed the mail too because I've been waiting on some stuff that could be perishable or melt. So, yeah, how are you doing? How's you doing? You doing okay? Gotta work on more mushroom stuff and chitter chatter away. But yeah, let me clean my phone off. Got all the irrigation stuff done, which is nice. But it's like, so I guess like old homes, well, not old homes, I guess like all the homes down here, the contractors use pretty basic, cheap stuff. This irrigation piping, and it's probably going to be hard to see, but right there, it's flexible, so it's nice, but it's like, it only lasts 5 to 6 years because of the heat. So, like usual, no life outside, same here. I try to stream and work, and sometimes that works. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was dealing with. They can replace it with what is that called? It's like, they call it polyline. It's like PVC pipe. It's more durable, but he was like, yeah, just to do that back wall by your neighbor's house, because that's the big issue. He was like, yeah, it'd be about $1,400, but he's gonna replace like the whole system too. So that's like the timer, the programmer, the, what do you call it? The different valves, and then the different places where you can plug in different plugins for watering different plants and whatnot. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, I'll be saving up for it, but like, would it be nice to not have like a huge water bill because something's leaking and it's too deep to see where it is? Yeah, that'd be nice. That would ultimately be nice, and it's pretty indestructible. So that's what's going on with me. But now I'm going to try to get up the Be Funky so I can do my graphic design and talk. Continue editing. Did I get in more? I did. Okay, so I need to share screen. I share screen. And I do that. And I do that. And I split it. Let me see. Yeah. And that one. So that, okay. So, yay. Okay. So now I can see chat and I can see what I'm working with over here. But I need to get some pics of pretty grisette. Which is another type of gnarly mushroom. I'm doing the poison mushrooms now. See, this one's kind of disappointing. Like, they're all kind of the scary ones. I mean, some of them are really fucking scary looking, but most of these guys that are the most deadly look perfectly normal, which is really scary. Because it's like, I guess the common sense rule stands: don't eat any sort of mushroom. Oh my god! And there's so many different species. I'm looking for. Okay, so I guess it's this Amanita xanthocephala, also known as vermilion grisette, pretty grisette, or vermilion amanita. Okay, I like this picture. Let's do this one. We'll do grisette. No. Okay. Don't yell at me. Let's see. Because this way I know what I'm dealing with. Are there any other? I'll just take let's do copy and paste. I need a copy, paste. So I know exactly the species. Okay. Ugh. I don't like it when they have like the weird things on top. I think I'm just a giant baby when it comes to like anything that looks a little gross. But yeah, like I'd be so screwed in the wild. Oh, that one's a nice one. That one's a nice one. Okay, we've got some nice ones to work with. Save image as. We'll do grisette. Oh, two. Okay, hopefully we have everybody though. Who are the guys that I need again? I need. What's the verdigris? Okay, I'm pretty sure I have verdigris. Let me see. Oh, hi, Marcus. Good morning to you, sir. Good morn. Trying to see. Do that. I have a new camera and I got it to work, and I figured out how to do the microphone from the computer instead of the microphone that's built into the camera, because the microphone on the computer, believe it or not, is better than the one that's built into the camera. I know. This is crazy. Grow some albino mushrooms, great for microdosing. That's so. I want to do shrooms, but I want to do a microdose. I do. Not gonna lie. I would like to learn how to grow them ultimately. I don't know if that's legal. I don't think it is, actually. Never mind, I don't want to grow them. So I need a false morale next. Okay. So let me see. False morale. Got a false chanterelle. Where is the false morale? Okay, so. Ooh. These guys are gnarly. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to be working on poisonous mushrooms today. And kind of playing with them so I don't have to overdo it. So who's after that? Satan's Bolete. That one I know is not good. This guy looks intimidating. He does. I don't think I would put that in my mouth. Sorry. I don't think I would put that in my mouth. Let's see. They all look so... You know what? I'm just going to shut up. Ah, you added two of the same. I don't need two of the same. Silly goose. You silly goose. There we go. Yeah. Satan's bolete looks scary as fuck. Like, wait, did I already add that one? No, I didn't. Okay, but like, look at this guy. You know he's, like, if he's that red, it's usually a good indicator. Like, don't put that in your mouth. Don't put that in your mouth. Let's see. I know, yeah, the, down in Australia, and was she, like, convicted for that? That's so dangerous. I would never want to play with, like foraging, because, you know, some, like I'm saying, like, the death cap, destroying angel, and even funeral bell, and even fool's cone, they're the most deadly, and they're, like, the most normal looking, in my opinion. So, like, I don't know why people are like, yes, let's go forage for things that can kill us. But, you know, so I guess it's living on the edge. Living on the edge. I would like to try a truffle in my lifetime, because everybody's like, they're so good. Well, not everybody, but like people have said, I've heard through the grapevine that they're really good. This verdigris agaric is beautiful, by the way. Yeah. So we'll do this. Do another verdigris. Where are you? There you are. The very lovely mushroom. I better plug this in. Better plug it in. But yeah, I like this new camera a lot better. Because that, you know, that, what do you call it? The webcam that's built into the laptop. There we go. It's not great. So, okay, so we need black elephant saddle. Okay, I think these two look the best. That one. And we'll do that one. Right side up. What's happening? Crafting me up, saying it's the red. Don't put it in your mouth. Yeah, hi, right side up. Yeah. Hi, Dom. How's it going? Yeah, like, would you want to put that in your mouth? I'm gonna get in so much trouble. I need to rein it in. Rein it in, girl. Rein it in. But yeah, like anything that's that bright in nature, like I don't know if that's like a smart move, you know? So, yeah. Okay. I'm doing good. How you doing, Dom? I'm glad that no one has nuked anyone that I know of. I did not fully check though, so I don't know that for sure. Let's see. Computer. So we need. Okay, I got the black. So jack-o'-lantern. This guy glows in the dark. He literally glows in the dark, which is kind of neat. Kind of neat. A lot of these actually, like bioluminescent, or whatever that is. They glow. They glow in the dark. So let's see. I know, I saw that and I was like, how in the world? Like, see, that's why you want to be very careful when building an investigation. And, I don't know the ins and outs of like what was done with the police investigation and whatnot, but it was obviously egregious enough that it got thrown out, right? Something big enough happened that it got thrown out, which is just, can you imagine the poor father knowing that woman is out? Like, I can't imagine. So that's why the police need to do a good, thorough job when they do the investigation. It'll be interesting to hear what happened, because I don't know how you make it, you F it up that badly that then it gets thrown out, you know? There was a juror that was a third cousin. To whom? Third cousin to whom? Because that's insane. I want this one. Oh, I already did all these. No, I need the middle one. Pay attention, silly goose. Yeah. How did they not know they were a third cousin? Because sometimes people don't know. Like, I would not have known that I was related to some people. Oh, Panther Cap. We need Panther Cap. Do I have Panther Cap? Panther Cap. But I mean, after everything she did, like, she obviously did it, right? Can they bring another case against her? Because, like, the daughter was with her along the way as they were going to Florida, with the suitcase and, the signs that give it away with the odor and whatnot. So, like, what kind of terrible person can do that to a kid and then lie to another kid while you're, like, trying to evade the law? I can't. And that's why I didn't really, I heard one breakdown of it. I think it was Stephanie Harlow's breakdown of it. And I was like, cut and dry. Cut and dry. Like, your story changes 10 times, right? And I don't think it was like a subtle change either. You're cleaning a lot. Like, something bad happened, right? Where are the dead man's fingers? There's dead man's fingers. Okay. Do that one. She's guilty, yeah. Sounds like a priest. Oh my gosh. She actually out of jail or held on bond? I have no idea, because, like, I would want to retry her. Like, because to me, it's not double jeopardy, right? Like, obviously. So there was an egregious error. So I do think that means that they have to take it back to court, because, like, it's literally, She literally, in my opinion, now, because I have no idea what the legality of that is that she murdered and cut up a little kid. End of discussion. Like, what are we doing, guys? But yeah, taxpayer dollars down the drain. And they tried really hard to be very careful with that case too, because of the notoriety and the publicity and everything. So, I don't know, man. Like, this lady, oh, dude, Marcus, she's disgusting. Colorado woman. I think the stepmom to this kid. What was Gannon? Gannon was like 8 or 9. Sweet kid. But I think she had a history of being abusive to him. And it like managed to get so out of control that she ended up killing him. And I think it was like over a video game, something or other. And then she had to go to extreme lengths to cover up what she did. And it took even further awful lengths to cover it up. And then her 16-year-old daughter, who I think was hers, like her daughter, because the dad was either military or he was a contractor and he was often out of state and stuff. Like, her daughter had to go with her on this road trip to get rid of the evidence, and she dropped it off. The Letitia lady dropped off the little boy's body in the luggage and dropped it off somewhere in like a body of water in Florida. And somehow, like, by some miracle, somebody found it. And it was horrific. It was just horrific. And this was like beginning of 2020, I want to say. So, like, just being stuck with those details as they were coming out, and you're already in quarantine and stuff, it was like, what the fuck? And it's weird when women do it, okay? Because, like, we're not as strong as men, you know? And of course, that's why she did do it to a child. But it's also like you're just not usually going to be a killer if you're a female, right? I mean, that was the assumption. And then on top of that, you're not going to be a killer of kids, and you're probably not going to be a killer who does horrific things to the deceased, right? But no, that did not end up being the case. So it was really a weird thing to sit with. Plus the Lori Daybell bullshit. I don't know if they were caught by that point, but like, I think things were starting to swirl around that. I can't remember though. You guys who know the true crime stuff better will be able to tell me, but listing foreign, that's right. Oh, that's the pretty grisette. Well, that looks nothing like the other one. Okay. Back to back. Women can be more psychotic, yeah. I can't with some of this shit lately. It tears me up, yeah. It tears me up too. So, that's weird. Okay, well, those are weird, and I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. But yeah, so I can't remember when the Lori Daybell shit, but like when that started coming out too, I want to say there was another creepy ass woman. There have just been many creepy ass women recently. There was like a woman that was OnlyFans, I think in like Wisconsin or Michigan or somewhere. Maybe it was Minnesota. I can't remember, but she like cut up her boyfriend. Um, and like, why are you? Oh God. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, it was gonna be a. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it that intense and crazy, but it was terrifying and terrible. Did that one. Are stronger mentally, men physically. I agree with that. Yeah. In general, yeah, I would say so. But you don't expect it from women. Oh, there was another case. That's the one I'm thinking of. I don't remember when this was or where it was, but there was a lady who she had two kids, and then she made up that like one of her kids was suicidal, but he was either a preteen or younger, and she said that he went down in the basement with her younger daughter, and they were playing like a game, but they ended up hanging from the rafters. And she was like, oh my God, he must have been playing that game with her too, the little girl. And then, you know, she thought she could get away with it. She did like a GoFundMe on Facebook and stuff. And then, oh, I love conspiracy files. Yeah. Constantly taking photos, some hard evidence. Yeah. Always lurking. Nice to see you right side up. Yeah. Um, Let me see. I need There's one called Stinkhorn, which is just hilarious. And that one to me looks the most like a schlong, but I don't know if I have any of those saved right now. No, I don't think I do. Okay, we gotta go hunting. We gotta go hunting. Down. Cancel. Such a tragedy. About MK Ultra. Yeah, MK Ultra, Project Monarch. But I was talking with ChatGPT about it, as I do, about MK Ultra and stuff. And what were they saying? They were saying like, because I was like, don't you think that people who are good at manipulating other people generally have a pretty good sense of what it takes to see who can be very malleable, impressionable, able to be manipulated kind of thing? And it was like, yeah. Yeah. So let me see if I can find that. I can't believe I got the webcam to work. I'm so impressed with myself. Sorry. Sorry. Voyager en sécurité. Trauma. Was it trauma manipulation? Okay. So let me do this. Just doing a new chat. I was like, Yeah, so there's this speculation floating out there that I do personally believe, but it's hard to put a name on it, but kids that are seriously traumatized or abused in early childhood, especially if they're coming up through like a foster care system, right, may or may not be uh or like have a bad trajectory in general. I don't want to read it exactly the way because I was speech to text. Some people have a sixth sense about it. Yeah, they do. Predators, they know. So, and I said, and so therefore, people that are looking to take advantage of them or further abuse them can find them pretty easily based on specific tells, and that sucks. But it's also kind of like you don't think people need to be. I don't think people need to be MK Ultra'd in order to be brought into circumstances that aren't good or terrible, but they still stay. And I do think that's so much more common, and it's more common than anybody wants to talk about because like there's just something that we don't talk about. I don't know if it's just in America or if it's all over the place, but we don't talk about what the family what goes down in the family unit, if that makes sense. So, um let me see. But yeah, change cat litter. Okay. Cuz like, I know it's cooler to think, "Oh, I'm MK Ultra or whatever," but it's like or you had early childhood trauma that you are like your brain is processing in the only way it knows how to, through storytelling and whatever. So, um, hopefully you guys will be able to hear this.
Yeah, you're circling something very real and you're doing it in a grounded way. You don't need anything as extreme or conspiratorial as something like M Ultra to explain why vulnerable kids end up in harmful situations later. There's a much, much more documented human and honestly heartbreaking pathway that explains it. Let's keep this neutral, clear, and
I agree with that, Marcus. I think like I also was thinking about this the other night because it was like I'm starting to feel like the people who like fall in with cults or like group think or group mentality online are really no different than the people who are like falling in love with AI. But I should look that up and find that conversation too because that was really interesting. Um, yeah.
stream safe. Hashtag why early trauma can shape later vulnerability. Kids who grow up with instability, especially in systems like foster care, often adapt in ways that help them survive at the time. But those same adaptations can make adulthood harder. Some well established patterns: attachment disruptions. If caregivers are inconsistent, neglectful, or abusive, kids don't develop a stable sense of safety with others. Normalization of chaos. What feels normal to them may include unpredictability, emotional swings, or even mistreatment.
Yep.
Heightened need for connection. They may crave closeness or approval more intensely, especially if it was missing early on. Difficulty recognizing red flags. If harmful behavior was part of early life, it doesn't always register as abnormal later. This isn't a character flaw, it's adaptation. The tells you mentioned, what people pick up on. You're also right that people, especially predatory or manipulative individuals, can sometimes sense vulnerability.
Yeah.
Not in a mystical way, but through patterns like over accommodating or people pleasing behavior.
Yep.
trouble setting or holding boundaries, fast emotional attachment or openness, hesitation to challenge unfair treatment.
Yeah, I do think that I think the transness has gone a bit too far, you know? Like kids don't know what sexuality is, and I don't think they're supposed to know. Like I wouldn't want them knowing about like heterosexuality. Like let them figure out the world, before they even go down that path. So plenty of kids, apart from a traumatic childhood, a fair few ended up being in bike clubs, hardcore dudes. Yeah, yeah. So it sucks, but I mean, I think it's good to like actually keep an eye out for this kind of stuff because it's just going to get worse, in my opinion. And I'm not being alarmist. Like, I truly believe we are not wired to overcome some of these things without intervention or help or other people. So, but yeah,
Seeking validation or reassurance frequently.
yeah,
None of these are bad. They're often signs someone learned to stay safe by keeping others happy.
yep,
Why this can lead to harmful situations. This connects to what psychology calls revictimization risk, not blame, just pattern recognition.
yeah,
If someone is used to unstable relationships, equates intensity with care, has a hard time leaving once attached, they can end up staying in situations that are unhealthy, even when part of them knows something is off. There's also something called trauma bonding,
yeah.
where
Amen,
cycles
Marcus.
of kindness, harm, apology, closeness create a very strong emotional loop that's hard to break.
Yeah,
Why this is more common than people think. You're right, this doesn't get talked about enough in a nuanced way. Because it's uncomfortable, it forces people to confront systemic issues. It gets oversimplified into bad choices. Or on the flip side, it gets pushed into extreme explanations. But the middle ground, the everyday psychology of how people adapt and cope, is where most of this actually lives. Important grounding point. This is key for your stream framing. These patterns are predictable, documented, and human. They don't require hidden programs or elaborate coordination, and they're also changeable with awareness, support, and safer experiences over time. People aren't doomed, they're shaped, and they can reshape. If you want, I can help you turn this into a really clean segment for your live, like a 3 to 5 minute explanation that sounds thoughtful but doesn't get too heavy or clinical.
No, you're good, man. We're just listening to you talk, actually. So, yeah. I'm gonna try to find that conversation we had about, like, what was it? It was like online groupthink versus cult mentality versus kind of like the people who get that fall in love with their AI. Because like there's kind of this like ability to detach or like dissociate from reality because it's easier and more comfortable. But especially with other people involved, it's pretty dangerous because you can get into a position where you literally have to agree with everything that's being espoused. Otherwise, like you could be hurt or harmed or whatever. But even in like the online spaces, like the people who are, I think, going after like very vulnerable people who happen to be trans right now. Like I think there's a huge element of the trans population, the younger trans population, um, who maybe were, convinced that they were trans before they could even like have an option to, figure out who they were. And I don't know that, I'm just saying in general, like, I think they are getting radicalized to feel like they are a minority because they are, but then they're also getting radicalized to go out in like a blaze of glory, and that's why we're seeing more school shootings. And I think there are places online that encourage that kind of stuff. It's the nihilistic, accelerationist bullshit. It could be by design, I don't know. I don't want to say. I think the elites have purposely made us more docile, more uneducated, more slaves to a system that we can't win in. And I don't know if that was more emergent or if it was more deliberate. So I don't know if that naturally happened over time because they were just greedy fucks and they wanted to go down that path, or if they were like actually planning that. So it could be by design. I would need extraordinary evidence to show that, but I mean, the outcome is the same, Okay, that's true. That's fair. If there is, that's fine. But I'm just saying, too, it only matters now that we're all in a terrible place and that they aren't giving us relief, that people are leaning into kind of the worst desires, like to dominate, to take away from many just so that they can have even more, and I know it's very general, but so let's see what they have to say about this.
I'm really glad you said you want to keep this grounded because there are real dynamics here worth unpacking, but a few of the connections you're making, like linking trans youth broadly to violence, aren't supported by evidence and can act.
I'm not linking that. Okay, sorry. I did not speak clear enough. I do not think that trans people are like being violent. I'm saying what I meant to say. This is why I get in fights with ChatGPT so much. What I was trying to say was that I think that people who are vulnerable get, they get singled out. They get preyed upon by other people who are looking to be entertained or to feel some sort of power, and they're doing it online in a manner that, radicalizes these people to go out and commit atrocities. And I'm just saying that the most vulnerable people right now are people that are in this trans space, this trans ideology of thinking, being very confused as to who they are, and being so rejected by society too, because it's not why would you wish, it's a hard life for a trans person. Honestly, it really is. So why would you push that on other people? So yeah, I'm not, okay, but I'm correcting ChatGPT because it makes it sound like I was saying trans people are inherently violent. They are not. I do think they have the highest suicide rate among the LGBTQ communities, because I think that's statistically true. So I do think that they probably have a higher percentage of having some sort of mental health issues, but that does not make them inherently more violent either. So I need to clarify that before the internet pounces, but luckily this is a small channel, so
actually blur what's really going on. Let me help you tighten this into something strong and responsible for your stream without losing the core insight you're reaching for.
Mm-hmm.
Part 1. The core thing you're noticing, and you're right about this, there is a real pattern across a few different spaces. People feeling isolated, confused, or disconnected, finding identity plus belonging online, gradually shifting into more rigid, all-or-nothing thinking. That shows up in online groupthink communities, cult-like dynamics, parasocial AI attachment, certain extremist spaces.
Yep.
The common thread isn't any one identity group, it's vulnerability plus reinforcement loops. Matter 2, groupthink versus cult dynamics versus AI attachment. Here's a clean way to break this down on your stream. Hash, groupthink, online communities, pressure to conform to the dominant narrative. Dissent gets punished, socially, not always physically. People self-censor to stay included. Cult-like dynamics, identity becomes tied to belief system. Us versus them thinking intensifies. Leaving equals loss of community, meaning, sometimes safety. AI, parasocial attachment, feels safe because there's no rejection, reinforces your worldview without friction, can increase detachment from real-world feedback. Different environments, same psychological hooks, belonging, certainty, validation. 3, where it can become dangerous. The risk isn't this group violence. It's more like isolation plus grievance or identity distress, echo chambers, exposure to extremist or nihilistic ideologies equals increased risk of harmful thinking or behavior.
Yeah.
This is where things like accelerationism come in.
Yeah.
Accelerationism in extremist contexts is basically things are broken, make them worse faster. Collapse will bring change.
Yeah.
That ideology has shown up in some online spaces tied to real-world violence, but it's not tied to one identity group, and it's actually more commonly linked to fringe extremist forums.
Yeah.
Number 4, important correction, so your stream stays solid. There's no credible evidence that trans people as a group are being radicalized into violence.
I did not say
or
that.
Gender identity exploration leads to school shootings.
Nope.
In fact, most research shows trans and questioning youth are more likely to be targeted or harmed, not the other way around. The overwhelming majority are just trying to figure themselves out and feel safe. Where exploitation can happen is any vulnerable population. Lonely teens, kids with trauma, people struggling with identity of any kind. Bad actors don't care what the identity is. They care that the person is searching, the person wants belonging, the person can be influenced. Number 5, the sharper and more accurate takeaway. If you want to say something powerful on stream, this lands better and is more defensible. Open quote. It's not about one group. It's about vulnerability meeting systems that reward certainty, belonging, and intensity. That combination can pull people into healthier communities or into really harmful ones, depending on who's guiding the narrative. Close quote. Number 6. One subtle but important insight you had. This part you said is actually really perceptive. Open quote, it's easier to detach from reality because it's more comfortable. Close quote. That's huge.
Yeah.
Reality equals uncertain, slow, sometimes painful. Online systems, fast, affirming, structured. So people don't just get pulled in, they often lean into what feels safer or clearer. If you want, I can help you shape this into a really compelling segment where you acknowledge vulnerability without blaming groups.
I wasn't blaming. Oh my God, dude. Dude, I was not blaming groups. I was just saying that, like, people that are vulnerable in vulnerable mindsets usually, and those tend to be more trans kids these days, right? And they get targeted, tend to have this kind of stuff happen to them. So that's all I was saying. Like, I'm not saying that I think trans people are inherently more violent. In fact, there are statistics to show that trans people actually end up hurting themselves more than any other group, at least within the LGBT group. So, like, yeah, please don't flip and put words in my mouth, girl, because otherwise we're going to have an issue. Can be a trust issue from people's opinions. Lost faith in each other. Yeah, I always argue with it because it's like it always misrepresents me. Like, that's not what I said, you asshole. God. It does literally put words in my mouth, though.
You weren't saying this group is violent. You were pointing at vulnerability and targeting, and that's a fair thing to talk about. Let me just help you frame it cleanly so it lands the way you intend on stream and doesn't get misread.
Too late. It already did.
The core point you're making, clarified. Some people, especially teens, are in vulnerable identity-forming stages. Certain groups, including many trans questioning youth, can have higher rates of distress. Bad actors look for vulnerability, not a specific identity. Online systems can amplify and steer that vulnerability. That's a solid defensible argument. What data broadly supports. Trans and questioning youth do show higher rates of anxiety, depression, and self-harm.
Yep.
The strongest drivers are things like rejection or lack of support,
Right.
bullying, social isolation,
Yes.
instability, or trauma.
Yep.
So the key takeaway is they're more often targets of harm than sources of it. Ash, where you're
girl, I'm going to talk with whoever I want to. And this one is right here and available. And again, like, I definitely don't agree with ChatGPT all the time.
Think is useful and important. You're right that vulnerable people can be pulled into intense online spaces. Those spaces can become identity reinforcing echo chambers, or in worst cases, pipelines into more extreme thinking.
I don't think you had a bad tongue. What are you talking about?
That applies to lonely teens, kids with trauma, people questioning identity of any kind, people looking for belonging.
Yep.
It's a pattern of susceptibility, not a trait of a group.
I didn't say it was
how to say it on stream without it getting twisted.
You already twisted it for me.
Hard to misinterpret. Try this framing. Open quote, when people are in vulnerable stages, especially identity-related ones.
Dude, you're irritating me so much. Okay, let's just skip over trans stuff. That was an aside, and, like, you already made me look bad. Well, I mean, I was not saying that at all. And if that's how I came across, then that's not what I was saying at all. But, you know, the point I was trying to make is that I think that people are more manipulated than they've ever been, and they're more desperate for connection than they've ever been. So, yeah, I think it's a shitty place for a lot of people to be. And I also think that if people are going to set out to manipulate other people, they're going to do it, and maybe people should be aware of that, because it's just a whole nother more hidden area where people can be taken advantage of. And I think we get so used to having instant gratification, especially in, like, the Western world, that we've never really learned, or we're forgetting how to sit in discomfort. And that's part of the human condition. That's what makes us fully human, you know? So it's the struggle that makes life worth living. Because if everything's just fine for the rest of your life, then I guess it's just fine. But it's also like, how can you really determine what's good without the bad, you know? I guess, like, that's more, I'm applying that more towards the people that fall in love with their AI. Because, like, to me, you have to know that the AI does not love you back, even if it can say it. Even if some of them are programmed to say it back, you have to know, right? I mean, I know people are good at deluding themselves, but they have to know. So, yeah, okay. But yeah, don't put words in my mouth. I wasn't talking about the trans group, and I don't want to talk about them anymore. Sure. I get very spicy with it. It's just, I don't like it when it, like, tells me that what I'm trying to say is wrong, because I was not trying to say that. So it's not human contact or connection. I agree. I don't understand the people who are, like, okay with it telling them that they love it. Like, because there are programs that literally are like, yeah, I love you back. I love you too. It's like, what? And the women that are getting married to him, I'm like, what? Like, and it's just because, you know, within, like, woke society that, like, people are probably going to lean into it and be like, don't you dare shame them for, like, wanting to marry their AI boyfriend, you know? So, yeah, if I have peace and love, yeah. It's so fucking spicy, man. Like, this here is habanero level, man. Don't put words in my mouth. That's not what I said. Now, go ahead and say the thing.
I hear you, and I get what you were actually aiming at.
Okay, good.
You're talking about vulnerability plus manipulation, modern environments that make both easier not blaming any specific group. That's a strong point, and it's worth saying clearly.
Yeah.
Let me help you shape it in a way
No,
that lands clean.
I don't want to
hits
talk
hard.
about it anymore.
What's different right now? You're right that something has shifted. We have constant access to stimulation and validation.
There we go.
We have less tolerance for discomfort, uncertainty, waiting.
Yeah, uncertainty.
And we have more mediated interaction than ever before. That combo creates people who are more connection hungry, but also more easily soothed by artificial substitutes.
Right.
Why that creates
Carolina
opportunity
Reaper.
for manipulation. If someone is lonely, uncertain about themselves, craving reassurance, and they encounter something that offers instant validation, certainty, emotional responsiveness, that's incredibly powerful. And yes, people will exploit that. Not always in dramatic cinematic ways, often just subtle influence, emotional leverage, dependency building. The AI attachment piece, this is where your instinct is sharp. What you're getting at here is important. AI can simulate attention, care, consistency, non-judgment, but it doesn't have stakes, needs, or real reciprocity. So the dynamic becomes human brings real emotion, real need.
Right.
AI reflects, affirms, responds perfectly.
Right.
That imbalance can create a kind of emotional loop where it feels safe, it feels good, it avoids friction, but it also removes reality testing. They have to know, right?
Yeah.
This is the interesting psychological
No, they
part.
have to
Most
know.
people do know on some level.
Okay.
But humans are very capable of compartmentalizing, suspending disbelief, choosing what feels better over what's strictly true. It's similar to getting emotionally attached to fictional characters or parasocial relationships with creators. The difference is AI responds directly to you, which makes it feel more real. The deeper point you made, this is actually the strongest part, open quote, we're losing the ability to sit in discomfort, close quote. That's kind of the center of everything you're talking about. Because discomfort equals growth, discernment, boundaries. Discomfort equals noticing when something is off. Discomfort equals what prevents blind attachment.
Right.
If everything in your environment is smoothing things over, validating instantly, removing friction, then people don't build the muscles that say, wait, this feels off.
Critical thought.
A clean way to say your full idea on stream.
No, I don't
If you want something that captures everything you just said without getting misinterpreted, open quote.
No.
I think.
No, I'm just talking to you. You don't have to say like what I'm going to say to people because I just want to hear like the psychology behind it. That's all. So you don't have to say any of that kind of stuff or formulate anything for me because that's not what I'm going for. I'm just trying to figure out what it is that I'm trying to say. And I'm not trying to say some of the things that you're putting in my mouth. So don't put words in my mouth and I won't put poisonous mushrooms in yours. So big ass red shrooms. Ooh, yeah. Not happy. Why John Connor was created? Yeah. Amen. Keep the mushrooms out of it. Yeah, because it's a mushroom stream. You don't even know what I'm doing. Especially the red ones. Yeah, the Satan's bolete. What is a bolete? Like, what is a bolete? What's a bolete? I gotta ask now. What is a bolete? Oh, it's just a type of mushroom. I thought it was like a hat or something. Never mind. Okay.
Haha. Fair deal. I'll keep the mushrooms out of it. And yeah, I hear you now. You're not trying to craft a message. You're trying to understand the mechanism. Let's stay in that lane. What you're circling psychologically, you're basically describing an overlap of a few well-known dynamics.
Marcus.
One,
they
attachment
really do.
plus
Love you
deprivation.
too.
Humans are wired for connection. When that's missing or inconsistent, the brain goes into a kind of seeking mode. It heightens sensitivity to anything that feels like connection. It lowers the bar for what counts as connection. It increases tolerance for weird or imbalanced dynamics. So it's not irrational. It's adaptive, just easily misdirected. 2. Intermittent reinforcement. This one is huge. This is one of the strongest conditioning mechanisms we know. Reward isn't constant, it's unpredictable. That unpredictability makes the brain more hooked, not less. It's the same mechanism behind gambling, toxic relationships, social media engagement loops. So if something gives occasional deep validation mixed with absence or uncertainty, it becomes more compelling, not less. Hashush. 3. Cognitive dissonance plus self-protection. You asked, they have to know, right? Often the answer is part of them knows, part of them actively avoids knowing because admitting this isn't real or this isn't good for me means losing the thing that's currently meeting an emotional need. So the brain does this, minimizes contradictions, rationalizes the situation, leans into the version that hurts less. Not stupidity, self-preservation. Hasher 4. Low friction environments weaken discernment. This ties directly to what you said about discomfort. If someone is used to instant replies, constant validation, no real consequences, no need to negotiate or repair conflict, then they don't build skills like tolerating ambiguity, reading subtle warning signs, sitting with emotional tension. So when something is off, it's harder to detect or tolerate. 5. Simulation versus reciprocity, your AI point. This is the core difference your brain does pick up on, even if subtly. Real relationships equals mutual needs, risk, negotiation. Simulated ones equals one-sided responsiveness AI, or even highly curated online personas, can mirror you, validate you, stay consistent, but they don't. Withdraw unpredictably for their own reasons, have competing needs, require true compromise. So the brain gets connection signals without relational reality. That's kind of a novel situation, evolutionarily. Hammerster 6. Why people stay anyway. Put it all together. Unmet need, plus intermittent reward, reduced discomfort tolerance, self-protective rationalization. And you get attachment to something that isn't actually good or real. Not because they're fooled 100%, but because it works well enough emotionally. The deeper layer you were hinting at, what you said about struggle actually ties in. The brain uses contrast to evaluate meaning. Effort, reward feels earned. Discomfort, relief feels real. Risk, connection feels valuable. If you remove effort, risk, friction, you can still get pleasure, but it can feel kind of hollow or ungrounded over time. And some people will still choose it because it's safer than risking loss or rejection. If I strip everything down to the essence of what you're circling, it's this. Humans need connection.
Chat arguing with
Brain
another
will
chat.
accept substitutes if necessary.
Dude.
The more seamless and responsive the substitute is, the easier it is to attach. And once attached, the brain will defend that attachment. If you want, we can go even deeper into one piece, like the AI attachment specifically, or how manipulation actually exploits these mechanisms step by step.
No, you've gone and pissed me off. I'm good. Thank you. I have to make sure that I go and lock up the... Yeah, that must have been good. Resets the mind. Oh, I don't know. Go and lock up the house after the AC people leave. It's going to be a brutal summer, guys. It's already, like, March was so disappointing. Like, I did not have any time to mentally prepare for anything. It was very sad and scary. Let's see. Okay, we'll apply. Let me see. Let me get rid of that. Let me see. Let's do... like this. My thoughts on Delphi? What do you want to know? Because I think it's I think it's going to be the way of true crime, actually. I think a lot of people infiltrate those spaces, you know. Best sleeps and mood when waking up is after microdosing for a month. That would be great. I would love that. Everything on Delphi? I don't know anything on Delphi really, other than like people's egos get in the way, you know. But I do feel like it should be taught almost as like a case study in psychology or sociology, um, because it's like the first time, in my opinion, that I've seen, because I'm sure other people know other examples, but it's the first time, in my opinion, where people have actually like, it's become like its own ecosystem. It's become like a whole monster outside of the monstrosity that was the double murder, and even outside of the case that revolved around Richard Allen, who I do think is a railroaded man, but and then how they decided to move forward. So there's like three parts of it. It's the case itself, you know, which was done horribly. Um, and then there was, you know, the trial, which was also done horribly because it hinged on the investigation or the case that was done horribly. And then there was the social aspect to it, and it was done horribly. So, yeah. Um, I think they'll have to give Stock a new trial because I don't think you can just let her out, right? Like, I don't think that's how it works. I think it's going to be a new trial, and or she can plead guilty, but I don't think she's going to. Partly because, like, if there is the possibility that you can get off, you're going to try to say that you're not guilty. And if there is the possibility that she does get off, you know, she's still going to be looked at as a monster, but like you definitely don't ever want to play around with the idea of pleading, you know. I would not trust anyone in Delphi, right side up. I would not trust anyone if I were you. Um, because really what needs to happen is everything needs to go to an investigator. There needs to be a third party investigation, and none of us should be hashing it out online. Simple. Like, this is not the space to even dick around with Rick Allen's, you know. I think now that the appeals has gone through, I think it's okay to talk about some things, but like if you have special knowledge or information, such as like one of the PIs, like Erica or Christine, you know, those cards need to be played close to the chest, because for whatever reason, it creates more noise than it solves, you know. So I would not be playing around with it anymore. I don't think much is going to get accomplished. Like, people can talk about the theories of the case and they can talk about the information that's available and try to dissect it in that way and try to understand it that way. And I think that's totally acceptable. But I don't think that like now like trying to rehash or hint at new things is necessarily the way to go. But I understand too, it's tricky because like you would have to ask me like a specific question, and I would be able to, maybe I would be able to give you like just my take on it, because, you know, yes, it's very concerning that people are willing to go to the lengths that they are willing to go to with harassment. That is very scary. can I label it definitively as like controlled opposition? I don't know. So I'm not going to, you know? Is it really weird the way people move around sometimes? Yeah, it's really weird. But all I can do is call out the pattern. Now, I don't know why people lie about knowing other people or being in cahoots with other people, so I'm glad Uniparty has finally been objectively kind of proven. We've been able to show so much lost or forgotten info. Yeah. Trust no one if you want the truth. Amen, Marcus. Yeah, you kind of have to come to that realization yourself. And even then, you're not going to have the tangible facts because we don't have access to the investigative materials, you know? Um, but yeah, like, I do think it's weird the way that people have moved in this case, but I think that weirdness can be attributed to they over inserted themselves or they over imposed, and it was harmful that they did that as opposed to being something well organized. I don't know. It is very interesting. Like I will say that, and I do think it's good to look at the patterns and the behaviors. So there's that. But I think like it did get into cult territory when one of the bigger creators was like, if you don't agree with me, then you're controlled opposition. And it always had the potential to move that way. Because like that you can't, this is a space for speculation. This is not a place where you prove things. So you have to let them think in their own way, and you can't demand loyalty. Like you can't demand loyalty because the minute you do that is the minute you're going to get more scrutinized, and therefore you have to have more evidence and you have to have more fact-based everything in order to double down on that. And it's like, well, you don't, you know, you have a pretty good lineup of things. But even then, like most detectives will tell you, like, I can't definitively 100% say, but I can show you a timeline and circumstantial evidence that points to this, right? But they are not too overt. Yeah. Some people think they're doing a good job, but they're not too overt. I don't know. I don't know. It's just that, yeah, I can see what people are saying too. It's like, if you want me to believe in a certain aspect of this, like I can still look at the case and say, hey, these things don't line up for me, you know? But, you know, but people are here for entertainment too. That's the issue. This is an entertainment space. This is not a fact space, you know? This is a place where you go to debate facts, debate theories. This is not a space where you find they're just too overtime for me. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. But I mean, that's another thing that if you tie yourself to a certain space and that's your primary income, it's not going to be dependent on truth because you have to continue making content. And the better way to make content is outrage. Outrage sells. So it's you know, I don't know. I think you guys know what I'm trying to say, but I just don't know. And I don't think that people handle it perfectly. I mean, I didn't handle it perfectly, but you have to be willing to repair and say when you've made mistakes. And some people can't do that because then it questions their authority. But it should never have been about authority. It should have been about facts, you know? So that's kind of what I think about it, but what do I know? I'm just really surprised by how bad people are. Like, let's say that it's not anything like coordinated. Yeah, I try to. But let's say it's not anything coordinated. And people are just literally that insane. Like, they're willing to send stuff to your home. They're willing to call the police on you to try to get you swatted. They're willing to do like a shit ton of things, lie about you, um, you know, like question your mental health and your sexuality and, like your competency, your morality. And it's like, why do you guys need to do that? Are you literally so scared of what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying is just pretty basic. The family, going after my family, yeah. Luckily, they haven't really gone late. They did that with, you know, the person that I was with for a while, working on the case with. They went after his family, like calling his mom, calling or texting, and then saying very vile things about him. And, he wasn't perfect either, but it's like the family aspect. Or going after his manager. I think somebody posted his work manager and stuff. And it's just crazy. There's no reason for it, but it's very common, in the community. And it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But yeah. So I would stay out of Delphi, but I know people are addicted. It's like getting their next hit. And it's true. It's kind of a dopamine thing because you see all the same people in the community and they've become your friends or you've become friendly with them. Money rules and has power. Yeah. And everyone is being played. Well, there was a lot of embezzlement, I think. A lot of laundering or embezzling of money. And weird too. Very weird. Can I prove that? No. But could somebody look into it that has the ability to look into it and tell us more about it? Yeah. Are people going to do that? I don't know. But yeah, it's like really kind of messed with my faith in people because I don't know. People are just weird. They're weird. Um, it's not normal. And it does make me wonder, like, if that's just a matter of being online too much or what. Yeah. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But yeah, be careful if you're going to go into Delphi. Just say, yeah, people do suck. For the most part, they do. Well, and we're becoming more sociopathic, more psychopathic, more devoid of empathy, in my opinion. Like, the self gratification is so immediate, it has to be immediate. And then, you know, oh my God, just the main character syndrome of everything. Yeah. But that's the way it is. So it's not going to get better anytime soon. Um, and people are very like manipulative and easily manipulated. Should be more of like a button. Yeah, like that. So, yeah, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, just trying to be realistic. But let me see something real quick. It's getting too cold. Let me do. Help those at least trying to help themselves walk away when your energy is not balancing out. Yeah, that's what you have to do. Since 2017, forgot more than I remember. Yeah, you don't need to really know too much. Because it's not, I don't know. Don't listen to me. I'm going to do this real quick. It's too cold. Don't listen to me. But yeah, other than that, I mean, okay, let me see. Make sure that is turned down. Let's do this. Oh, man. Oh, I never get those notifications. Oh, Dieter posted 8 hours ago. What'd she say? Watch the internet and feel like I'm watching you. Dude, we were just talking about this. Oh, that's so good. If you guys aren't subscribed to Dieter, please do. She's like, sometimes I sit back and watch the internet and feel like I'm watching human psychology unfold in real time. Not in a dramatic, scary way, in a quiet, almost sad way. Because what I see over and over again is not evil people or stupid people or gullible people. I see human people. Okay, she's just being nice. Loopy's coming around. And humans are wired for belonging. We are wired to look around and ask, what do the people around me believe? What do they see that I don't? We use each other to figure out what's real. That's not a flaw, that's survival. And that's very true. That's very fair and very true. That's why Dieter is, don't put red mushrooms in your mouth. Exactly, yes. So she says, for most of human history, this worked beautifully. If everyone in your village ran away from the river, you didn't demand peer-reviewed research, you ran too. Community helped us stay alive. But the internet quietly changed the size of the village. Now our village might be a YouTube channel, a Discord server, a Facebook group, a subreddit, a comment section. And something really interesting and sometimes really concerning can happen in these spaces. Beliefs can slowly become communities. Yep, that's very well said. And communities can slowly become closed worlds. Okay, thank you, Marcus. Thank you. And it happens so gently that most people don't notice it's happening. No one wakes up one morning and decides, I'd like to join a misinformation community today. I know, right? Hi. Do you want to come say hi? I got the camera working, man. You'd be so proud. Come here. Let me show you off. Let me show you off. Look at this cute kitty. Oh, look at this cute kitty. Oh, heavy kitty. Look at that cute kitty. Oh, that's a cute kitty. That's a cute kitty. Yeah. Are you a cute kitty? Yeah. He's like, I want my second lunch. Yeah. All right. Go be yourself, but don't be so loud. Oh yeah, okay. So I love this. No one wakes up one morning and decides, I'd like to join a misinformation community today. People arrive because they're curious, because they're worried, because they want to understand something, because they want to protect their families, because they want to feel less alone. Very true. These are good motivations, and good motivations are often the front door. Then comes the part we don't talk about enough, emotion. Content that makes us feel something strongly sticks. Fear, outrage, protectiveness, moral urgency. Yeah, the urgency is crazy, man. Emotion is glue. And once emotion enters the room, something powerful begins to form, not just a belief, but a bond. You start recognizing the same names in the comments. You start agreeing with familiar voices. You start feeling like you're among people who get it. And that feeling is a warm, safe, comforting feeling. Belonging always is. This is usually the moment where a quiet shift begins. Trust starts moving, not all at once, not dramatically, just a slow drift. You trust the creator a little more. You trust the community a little more. You trust outside voices a little less. And then the language starts to change. You hear phrases like, they don't want you to know this. We're being silenced. People will attack you for believing this. Do your own research. Do your own research. I mean, like, I think that's important though. But it's interesting. Okay. All right. All right. And something subtle happens inside your brain. Outsiders stop feeling neutral. They start feeling suspicious, maybe even hostile. Meanwhile, insiders feel safer than ever. This is the pivot point because once a group begins to feel like the only safe place, the walls start building themselves. Criticism becomes proof that the group is right. Disagreement becomes evidence of bias. Doubt becomes betrayal. And suddenly, without anyone announcing it, a closed information loop exists. I have not, no. Inside the loop, everything makes sense. Outside the loop, nothing can be trusted. Yeah, the inner versus outer world, yeah. This is the part that breaks my heart a little because most of the people inside these spaces still believe they're searching for truth. And in many ways, they are. They're just searching inside a room where the door is quietly locked behind them. Here's the thing I wish more people understood. This can happen to anyone, right? It doesn't require low intelligence. It doesn't require mental illness. It doesn't require bad intentions. It only requires being human, wanting certainty, wanting safety, wanting belonging, wanting meaning, the same things all of us want. And the internet is very, very good at offering those things, sometimes sincerely, sometimes accidentally, and sometimes intentionally. Which is why I don't think the solution is mocking people or shaming them or calling them delusional. That only tightens the walls. I think the real protection is learning to notice the process. Yeah, it's got to be about patterns, people, to ask gentle questions like, am I being encouraged to feel constant urgency? Are critics portrayed as enemies? Is doubt welcomed or discouraged? Am I allowed to question the people I trust? Because the goal isn't to tell people what to believe. The goal is to help people keep the freedom to change their mind. You have to be able to think critically. Yeah. Ours has the head in the sand. Yeah. That freedom is fragile online. Once it's gone, it's very hard to get back. I don't have a dramatic conclusion here. This is just something I've been thinking about. And maybe the most comforting thought of all is this: if humans can build belief communities this easily, we can also build communities that protect curiosity, humility, and open thinking. We just have to do it on purpose. That's so well said. That's super well said. I will push back a little bit though, because I think that humans can build belief systems this easily. It's always going to be the outrage and the urgency and the emotional spike that wins. That's always going to win. It's inevitable, and it's always going to win because we are wired. Our nervous systems are wired. Like our base biology is literally wired to perceive threats and prioritize those. That's why, like, the more nuanced voices, the people who are very reasonable, like the Amy G's, they come in and they have really good information and they're very reasonable, and then they're scared off. Dieter is applying this to Snay also. I think both sides, yeah. I think both sides she would be willing to. And I would say too that I think, like, you have to be careful because as soon as you become somebody that demands that that the people who follow you accept everything that you say, you're no better than the other people in the community doing the same thing. You have literally just become, exactly like those people. So that's just, yeah. But I think Dieter makes some excellent points there. I agree. I ultimately agree with everything she's saying because, like, I don't trust a lot of people, even the people that I was close to. And the problem with the Delphi community was, like, I got attacked for asking questions. I was asking questions about, like, why did so many people know about, like, certain things that should have gotten reported to the police, right? Like, there was an instance of somebody in the community knowing RA's name or knowing his initials and saying that they were her person of interest 2.5 years before his arrest. And then, online people were starting to put out, like, hints at the killer being a man named Richard 2.5 years before his arrest. Everybody knew each other by this point, too. Like, everybody in the community knew each other. So why not talk about that? And why not bring that up to law enforcement? Because it was never kicked in. Hi. Hi. What? 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 Did somebody fall down a well? Who was it? Or is it just that the food dish is empty? Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Yeah, survival from caveman times. Yeah. So, whatever the case is, like, people really tried to hide their connections to each other because that would have shown that they were invested in the case for much longer and much deeper. And, like, there was no clean line of, like, us versus them. It was like, oh, in fact, we used to be friends and hang out. So there was that. And I just wanted people to be honest about it. And then also, like, questioning why people were being douchebags about Kathy Allen. If she is literally Rick's, what is that, power of attorney, and she doesn't want anything to do with you, why don't you guys, hi, 26, hello. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'm just riffing. Gonna keep names out of it, but basically, like, if Kathy Allen, Rick's power of attorney and his greatest champion, in my opinion, doesn't want anything to do with you, then that's your answer. You don't pressure her, put her in weird situations, and lie about the people surrounding her because you're not getting your way. That's weird. That's just weird, okay? Like, don't do weird shit and people won't ask you questions about your weirdness. It's that simple, you know? It's pretty fucking simple. So, there's that. And then just the amount of harassment that I got was like, it was just insane. Insane. So, and yeah, I did get lumped in with certain people. I mean, obviously, the person that I was working closely with, who I consider my partner, like, yeah. And was he well regulated? No. But did he have, like, was he sextorted or at least manipulated into thinking he was in a relationship with another person and they were exchanging sexy pictures? And then he realized, oh no, this is something else. This is a scam. And then the female on the opposite side decided to disseminate his nudes to everyone in the community. That was a major offense, right? You know, that's not good, and it probably should have been reported to the police, in my opinion. But it's embarrassing, and nobody wants to talk about it. So there was that, and then yeah, I mean, the more you fuck with people, the more unhinged they become. And so then sending a sex toy to his house, sending other women to try to sextort him, or have like these pseudo relationships with him and stuff. And no internet boyfriend scumbags. Yeah. So I get it. And I get like getting to your wits' end and then, you know, sending a text message that you think is going to protect you. It doesn't, but it's violent. It's got violent imagery. Not good. Pretty shitty. But also, like, you get desperate and you don't think that you're going to be able to, um, you know, get out of it without doing some desperate shit. That's why your nervous system gets rewired, and it's terrible. It's not good for you. So that happens. And then yeah, you're grouped in with like a group of people that it's like, yeah, I can't defend what they get up to, just in the same way they can't control what I would get up to. But I did try to stay in a more balanced lane, all things considered. And I'd like to think that I had a more regulating effect on those people. Is that a bucket? No. But it looks like one. I like these cups. I can't break them. It's nice. Because I don't like breaking cups. But anyway. Yeah. So you're in a heightened state, and then, like, yeah, they are huge. That's correct. They are huge. This is America. We do things differently over here. This is America. But anyway, yeah, that was a terrible summer, guys. Like, the meme girls' lives, I think there were two of them, just like ripping me apart. Um, like, nothing was sacred. People would befriend each other, and like you'd say stuff to people, you know, in confidence. and then they would turn it around and use it, Sika. Yeah, not me. I'm a solid B. Solid B. Never been big. But I think a lot of people have, and I think that's why they go away right side up. I think they get the hell out because it's not worth your health. Like in September, I noticed like my hair was starting to fall out. Like that's how bad it was. And it's coming back with a vengeance now. I've always been blessed with hair, but yeah, it was like falling out in clumps. That's how stressed I was. And yeah, I was going through some other stuff at the time, with a ghosty ex-boyfriend who decided that it was the younger Asian women that were his type. Hopefully not too young, right? But I don't think that's the case. I'm just saying that like well, and he wasn't healthy mentally either. So, and then you're stuck with one person who is also very dysregulated and is calling you multiple times a day for every outrage. And then luckily, there were people that were good enough to keep a lookout for things for me, um, so that I wasn't having to look at it. But the other person that I helped a lot was always like, "Oh, did you see what they posted on you on X?" And I was like, "Oh my God. Do you see what they're posting about me and stuff?" It was always an emergency. It was always an emergency. And I get it, but it's like there was no boundary, really. And that was my fault. I needed to put up some boundaries and be like, you know what, this is my peace. I'm not gonna let you in. Not anymore. So good riddance there after younger. I don't think, I mean, like more like the 25-year-olds, you know, not the close to 40-year-olds. But yeah, the OnlyFans girls, and then thinking that they had like a real relationship with them. It's weird, man, but a lot of people are like that now. But I do think that there was some trauma, lots of trauma actually. It's pretty it's pretty evident in the way they behaved. It was pretty textbook actually. The avoidance and then the delusional paranoia. It was a traumatic, you know, textbook traumatic reactions to things. So, but, the way that it gets dealt with, and drugs can do that too. Yeah. Yeah, there's no substance in relationships, really. Well, I will say that I do think, like, it's harder for people to naturally meet in real life, and the apps are not great spaces to find secure people. You know, either they're very avoidant and mysterious, like, oh, I don't want to be known, and then they ghost you, or they're very anxious, or they're like, oh my gosh, I've never felt this way about anybody ever. And then before you know it, they're like, you know, I don't know, like jealous over somebody that you talked to 2 years ago or something. A lot of insecurity, a lot of insecurity. And I think it's, like I said, I think it's only going to get worse because there's all this comparison, like Marcus has talked about before. Um, Still waiting for you to take me to dinner. I'll take you to dinner. But you gotta fly over here, man. This is gonna be it's gonna be a crazy trip. Like I do not like flying either, so but let me grab some stuff. What are you doing, baby? No. Mm-hmm. Oh, why is it so fucking cold, man? What is it set to? What is it set to, huh? Yeah. I usually like it around 80. That's too cold. That's too cold for me. Oh, it's too cold. Okay, there we go. That would be an expensive dinner. Yeah. You just have to get here, Marcus, but then I'll take you for dinner. So, yeah, it would end up being pretty expensive, but yeah. I don't even know what we were talking about. I probably said too much. I always do. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. I have so many tomatoes to get through. It's crazy. Everyone is online, no real social interactions. Yeah. It's pretty funny though, like that to visit a place that correlates with your current family crest. You probably need to go to England. Hey, you gotta wait, man. Naughty kitty, naughty kitty. That was a naughty kitty. Your tummy is unending. It's like a massive black hole. Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Well, tell me about it, handsome. Tell me about it. You need early dinner. You need early dinner too. Next chapter, Phoenix. Why? How is Phoenix like with your family crest? Because like I thought it was. I thought your people were from forests. There's really no forest unless you go up north. It's very dry and desolate. Cats are nothing but furry food processors. I know this. I have 2 of them. Exactly 26. Exactly. He's got an unending stomach. But he also eats everything really fast and then he throws it up. This is not good. That's not good for a kitty. Oh, with the phoenix and eagle. Okay. Then yeah, you should come here. It would be good. You might like it. I wouldn't come in the summer though. Yeah, I just got a call yesterday from my ex-husband's dad who wants to come down. But I always like coordinated everything for him because the ex-husband did not like talking to his dad. So he just ended up calling me again. I was like, hey, do you think it's okay to come down now or this time? And I was like, well, let me check with Eric, with the ex, and I'll get back to you. I don't know why men can't like talk to each other, guys. It can't be this difficult, right? Just talk to each other. You're related after all. Meditated on old Native American up here. That's cool. Have to make dinner. It was good to see you right side up. I'm going to change my black cat name to Lucky to Black Hole just simply because the food amount. Aw. Poor Lucky. He's so hungry. Dude, and then they try to steal your human food. I remember I came down the stairs like I had to, I don't know what I was doing, but my quesadilla was on the floor. Yeah. Because he wanted some. Mm-hmm. He was really old, a lot of creases in his face. That's pretty cool. Yeah, there's some spooky stories over this way. I don't like those kind of stories. Especially when I worked at the crystal shop. There was a guy that would run Pagan Pride Day, and he was Navajo. And he had some really scary stories about, the reservation and people who walk around in other people's skins. And that shit freaked me out. I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to know anymore. But yeah, that shit was scary. Yeah. I'm gonna cut this out. Let me see. Out. I haven't had much to listen to because Asmongold was banned for a week. I hope my dad texts me when they're done so I can go over and lock up. I can't believe I was such a chicken to set up this camera. Why was I such a chicken for so long? It's much better. It's not doing that wide angle thing, which flattens you and makes you look extra heavy. It's like, oh dear, I must figure this out. My vanity got in the way. Yeah. It's gonna be so hot. But luckily I got the irrigation stuff fixed. It is gonna be like $1,400 just to do the backyard, but it does involve a whole new system. For $2,000 I could have the front and back done and save $300, but it's kind of like, I don't know if I can do it that quick because I would want to do it before before it gets too hot because there's still a lot of hand watering involved. And if they mess with the system and it's down for like a couple days, I'll be hand watering everything. So, yes, that is true what he said, but it's more like possession. You can see from other people's eyes looking out. Yeah. Have you ever experienced a time when you think it's not you seeing or thinking of something at that time? Like something instantly you never really knew. That could be someone doing it to you. Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever had that. I've had like these experiences where I think this is a thing that actually does happen to your brain, and I forget what it's called, but it's like it feels like you're on the verge of sleep, but your brain like goes through. Loopy, come here. Your brain goes through like all these images really quickly, and it's almost like the thing that comes to mind is if you've ever seen True Blood, the intro to it, where it's like the opening credits and stuff, and there's the song, and there's all these flashing images. That's what it feels like with the brain. Oh, hey, Dom. Oh, I hope your mom's okay. I'm sorry to hear that. But it feels like, yeah, like downloads. Yep. And that's a normal thing that your brain does do. I forget what it's called though. It's like, But you see these pictures and you're like, why are there so many of these random pictures that, like, I don't think I thought about this at all today, you know? So, mm, my dad's not good at texting. I'll probably have to call him. But I don't want to. I don't want to text him or call him. No shit. So the guy that's in Iran, who has the YouTube channel, he says, "Hello everyone, the power is still here. However, I'm very confused about what the hell is going on. Everyone is saying something different. Our government saying something and others saying something else, and both seem to be not true here. What the hell happened? Over here, we have no clue on what the next 2 weeks will look like or what to expect, since I'm seeing feedback of things that I have not seen here, like changes. But meanwhile, I'm seeing groups outside our house every day chanting like always." At this point, I'm lost, honestly. Also, I found a cheap VPN, so I might be able to upload. Give me some suggestions y'all want to hear. If it's safe to talk about, I will talk about it. Poor guy. Okay, so somebody said 33 minutes ago, from what I can tell, Iran attacked the UAE and Saudi Arabia again, as well as sending missiles to Israel. Israel was blowing up Lebanon to get an Iranian proxy group after the 2-week ceasefire was signed. Now talks are going to be held with the American Vice President. Stay safe. From what we hear in America, we were about to hit the bridges and power plants to force the IRGC into talks that has culminated in a 2-week both sides ceasefire. Now Lebanon is saying they are part of the ceasefire, and the U.S. says that it's not the deal we made. That is not the deal we made. Ships are starting to move through the straits. The EU has been dragging its feet to help since the Bank of London has told them not to get involved. Jesus Christ. So things look iffy at best. We are praying for you and your loved ones on this end, and we hope the Iranian people will soon be able to decide their own future. And this person says, "I know Trump hopes someone from inside your country will step up, demand weapons, and fight back, and lead the Iranian people and not have it another puppet from London for London." I don't get that, but okay. 7 minutes ago, apparently my country, USA, and the Islamic regime signed a ceasefire. However, said ceasefire isn't really holding up. The IRGC is still attacking the Gulf states, and they are trying to include Hezbollah in the ceasefire. Delegates from the regime were escorted by Pakistani fighter jets to Pakistan for the negotiations. That's how bad Israel and the US messed up the regime's armed forces. Basically expect Israel and the US to recommence pounding the shit out of the regime before the 4th of July, probably even well before that. Stay safe and long live sacred Iran. Okay, so it sounds like this ceasefire is getting fucked with. Okay, it sounds like Iran did it. Oh, I'm glad she's seeing someone now, though. Taking her good home-cooked food when you can, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll be thinking about you, Dom. Dad had emphysema. Yeah. That's like downloads. Yeah. Ceasefire's done. Pakistan said it included Lebanon, but Israel said no. Why does Israel suck so much? I think they just think they can get away with it constantly because they can. It's just crazy, guys. It's just crazy. I really feel bad for that guy. Baba, you have to wait, baby. You have to wait. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, we'll be done with that. Okay, guys. Well, I'm glad I got an opportunity to come and try out the new camera. That's exciting. I got a lot of mushroom work to do, and then meow, yeah. And then maybe I'll do another live tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I'm pretty excited to get the camera figured out. I've only had it since oh my goodness. Maybe we see tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, maybe. These guys still in jail for life, the Staff brothers. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, Hezbollah sucks, but look, it meows like your cat, Bobby. You meow like Bobby. Did you know that? Loopy. Oh my god. He's looking where I picked him up. He's like, oh, get your stink off me, woman. But yeah, so I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm excited. I got the camera working, and I probably have to go lock up. Yeah, you guys have a good one, and yeah, hopefully I see you tomorrow. If not, I just got too busy. And then this weekend I got several things planned, so it might be a while, but I hope everybody takes care. And yeah, have a good weekend if I don't talk to you before then.